All right, we live. Pep Talk UK, Pro Beez, Vampire Life. I'm delighted to be joined by Bo from Three Kings Boxing, OD, Two Tanks.
Hello.
Wow. Hey, it is a party. I've got to say that. It is a party. Bo, how you been, man? Happy New Year to you, man. I know we ain't done something in a little minute, so Happy New Year to you first and foremost.
Appreciate that, man. Same to you.
Yeah. OD, Happy New Year, man. Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year. I actually haven't spoken to you this year, I don't think. So, yeah, glad we're all safe and sound.
Right.
I see you stunting in Dubai, man, with the golden contract money, man. I saw that on IG, man.
People think I was out there on a holiday. Yeah, I did need a little break. But I was out there looking at a few properties. You know, they say that it's a good investment area. So I said, you know what, I need a small little break anyway. But while I was there, I wanted to go and look at how the property market is out there and consider moving out there for the future.
Wow. OD moving to Dubai. See, man, this is what happens, man. When you win the golden contract, man, you can just, can just travel the globe, invest in different properties and move to Dubai like that. Wow.
I'm just learning from everyone else's mistakes. I look at all the mistakes that the other guys made before me, and I'm like, mate, I see the mistakes they made. I'm not trying to make the same mistakes. I'm trying to have my fun, but I'm still trying to be smart at the same time. A lot of these guys, they had fun, and that's it. Now they got to work in Aston, something like that. Which ain't bad, but you can live a better life when you're a successful boxer.
100%, man. 100%. All right, let's just big up some of the viewers. Fight or Flight, salute, brother. The Barrister, salute, guys. We're just gonna talk with OD, find out what he's been doing, and then we'll get to your questions. We'll mix and match, but we're gonna talk about the heavyweight shake-up. OD, interestingly enough, I saw on IG today a man that you've been sparring that's been in the news today as well about potential fight on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, against the pound for pound Don in Canelo Alvarez. How was the sparring with Billy Joe?
It was amazing. Like, they asked me yesterday if I can spar, and today was actually it was like a rest day for me. I wasn't meant to train, but I was like, you know what, it's a great opportunity. I get to learn. I get to see what level he's on, and I get to see how I hold up against him. Even though there's a 3-weight gap, he wasn't unloading on me fully. He wasn't going hard. He wasn't unloading. Otherwise, I couldn't be there. But he just used his feet work. Like, he wasn't hitting too hard, but I was still trying to hit him hard. So that's the thing that I like to spar those guys that are quite bigger than me, because I can hit them hard. They can't hit me hard. I ain't got no issue with that. But it was more foot movement, trying to learn, his footwork is exceptional. And I remember seeing him spar before, and I was like, he looks good, but he don't look that good. But once you get in there, that's when you're like, okay, like it looks easier from the outside. Once you get in there, different level, and that's why he's a world champion, and he has been for all these years.
It's crazy because I think the first time I saw Billy Joe spar was with a mate of mine, Manny Muhammad, a middleweight, also like a neighbor of Billy Joe's as well, and that was at the old trad gym in East London, Town, I think it was. And the footwork was superb. The footwork was insane. That was the very first time I saw him spar. And I was talking to my mate Manny about sparring Billy Joe. He says, look, this guy is real elusive. He is really hard to hit.
Yeah.
You know?
Very hard to hit.
So how many did you get through today? How many shots did you get on target?
Probably got about 3 or 4 jabs on him.
Wow, is that elusive? Wow.
Yeah, like with the right hand, I couldn't really hit him with the right hand or hit him with the left foot. The only shots that really went through once or twice was the jab, and my jabs are quite sharp, but it's hard to hit him like with anything big. He's sharp, he's smart, he's got good leg work, he's got good head movement, and Canelo's in for it.
All right, so are you one of the people that are fully backing Billy Joe to pull off the upset? Because Billy Joe himself has said, look, I've got the Canelo Vinci code. I am the man to beat Canelo. He said that from a long time ago, but you also solely believe that's true.
I want Billy Joe to win because I know him, I'm mates with him. Obviously, if your mate's fighting against someone that isn't your mate, you're gonna want your mate to win. So I want Billy Joe to win because he's my mate. But on top of that, I do believe that he can. Canelo is not invincible, and it got proved when he fought against Floyd. He's not invincible, even though he might look invincible. He isn't invincible, and Billy Joe's got a good chance. The thing about Billy Joe is that Billy Joe ain't lost either. Billy Joe hasn't lost, and he's fought a few good opponents in his time in boxing. So I think that it's a fight that he could win. It's not impossible, but it's not impossible. He can do this.
Yeah, definitely. There's always a chance, isn't there? Nothing's impossible, bro, is it?
No, nothing's impossible. But let me add something, because I know you mentioned that he lost to Floyd, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to add something here, and this is for Ohara. Yeah. I saw a video. I just want to know, what made you confront Floyd Mayweather?
I knew the smoke was coming.
Yeah, but to be honest, he said something backstage that I didn't like. He tried to compare me to one of his fighters, but then I thought to myself, I'm a big fan of him. I'm still a big fan of Floyd, and I'm like, everyone's out here taking pictures with Floyd, just like I'm doing. I went there. I wanted to get a decent picture of him because I've looked up to him all these years. And I'm thinking, if I stand here and I do what all of these guys do, I'm the same as them. I need to change up. I need to do some shit that's gonna make me stand out from all the rest of these guys. So I thought, you know what? You said something that I didn't like. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that and get some views. And they got like 1.9 million views so far on YouTube. So it got me out there. It got my name in the public. Everyone was out there talking about me. So it played this job. But I didn't mean Floyd no harm. Floyd's the best ever to lace on a pair of gloves. So I just done it for the clout. But it's the industry we're in. Clout sells.
Right, most definitely. No, because it was one of the, because I remember seeing it, and I was like, yo, who is this dude, Ohara Davies? And I had to check it. I was like, oh, who's this dude walking up to Floyd like that? Like, huh? That was dope. It definitely got you out there and got some followers. But, you said something that I think is very important. When you sit on this side and you watch a fight or you watch a fighter, you can always say, like, it's like what we say, it's like you can always back up quarterback what a fighter should have done. Mm-hmm. But when you get in that ring, like you said, and you saw Billy Joe, like, oh, whoa, it's a whole different level, man. Mm-hmm. What is that like for you, being somebody seeing that level? What can someone like you take from there and employ that as you're going forward into boxing?
It just shows me that it's still levels that I need to climb. Like, sometimes in sparring, and I'm sparring a few amateurs, a few people up and coming, and then I'm teaching them, and they're learning from me, and I'm going light. And sometimes it makes you feel like you're up there. But when you spar someone like him, that's on a complete different level to you. It lets you know there's even more level. I need to grind. Yes, I need to help all these young guys up and coming, but I need to grow myself in a different level. I can improve on this, and that, and that's only going to benefit me in the future, because now I know I want to be like him.
Okay.
All right. What did Floyd say? Floyd said, look, you need to get out of the game and take no punishment. I got out of the game, but hardly took any punishment. Mm-hmm. I made smart investments. That's what he always said.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. All right, let's engage some of the viewers. Guys, welcome Ohara Davies in the building, both from Free Kings Boxing. We've got the UK and the USA, United Nations, All right, okay. So fight or flight, what people don't understand is Ohara has been mixing with these guys for the past 3-4 years. He's a massive super lightweight and only was 30% comfortably beat McKenna in first gear. He has that switch. Was you only 30%, Ohara, against McKenna?
Actually, I was only 30%, probably 25%. Do you guys know what? For that fight, yeah. Like, obviously, I was in the bubble for that fight week, but I won't lie, those beds, yeah, in that hotel, I don't know if it was just my room, those beds were so hard. And like, I found it hard to sleep. But then a night before the fight, I got to bed at 12 o'clock. I fell asleep at half past 12. I woke up at 3:30, and I never slept again. I would just start watching boxing because I couldn't sleep. So I remember going into the venue. I was so tired in the car. I nearly fell asleep. as I was just there backstage, I had to get a few Lucasades. Like, no, I was like, my coach mixed some drink. He like put lemon and ginger, like some honey in this drink, and I had to keep on fucking like taking sips of it because I was feeling so tired, and I had to sip it every 10-15 minutes. Otherwise, I'll be kind of dozing off. I slept for 3 hours the night before that fight, and even in the fight, I was in gear 1 the whole fight anyway. I didn't need to sleep anyway, even if I didn't sleep at all. I just thought, you know what, as long as I just win each round, I ain't really got to open up, because mate, he's got a chin. I know that one thing, if I'm gonna stop him, it's gonna be like a very hard ask. And if I don't have to, I don't really wanna rush in and then possibly get caught. If I can fight him on the outside and just win on the outside, I'm not here to impress fans. I'm here for the check. So mate, let me beat this guy on points, get the check, rather than trying to impress these fans and then possibly get hit. You know, but if he was any better, then I had to open up a lot more, then I would have, because we worked on things in the gym that I wasn't doing. We worked on a lot of things. I just thought, mate, if I can just beat him on a 1-2, if I can beat him using ABC, I don't need to use XYZ.
Sometimes, man, you got to win and then look good in the next fight.
Yeah, exactly. And the good thing about that is that everyone underestimates you. Everyone watches you. You're like, okay, cool. I'll have some of that. Yeah, you come. Yeah, you come and you see what happens to you.
Do you know what's crazy? I think on my memories on IG, I think I saw. You remember when I did an interview at the back, York Hall, when you fought Logan Yoon?
Yeah.
That came up the other day, and I was like, okay, it's been a year, man. And that night was pretty impressive. I think you had what, Tony Cisse in your corner at the time?
Tony Cisse, yeah. Yeah, that was a good fight. You know, that was the first fight on the golden contract. Everyone thought I was going to get beat because apparently he beat Ryan Garcia and he beat Devin Haney and he won like the Golden Gloves up in America, and he was unbeaten as a pro. And you know, I lost 2 fights and I ain't got back to the amateur pedigree. Everyone thought I was going to get beat. So when I demolished him, that was the sweetest victory, because the sweetest victory comes when everyone feels like you're going to get beat. Like in my last fight, everyone thought I was going to win anyway. In the bookies, I was a massive like favorite in the bookies. So that win didn't really feel sweet. It felt like, yeah, I was meant to win anyway. But I like fights where I'm meant to lose, because then the victory felt sweet. And you know, that Logan Yoon feeling, it's the greatest thing, the greatest feeling ever that I've had in my boxing so far.
You know, it seems like I watched that fight, and same thing with the McKinney fight. It seems like the trials you went through with Taylor and Cotterall, that experience you was able to use, because what I saw in Taylor fight was a different Ohara Davies when I saw him again in the Cotterall fight. Now you face, like you said, you face Logan and then you face McKinnon. You definitely look like a totally different fighter from like when you first, you know, used to fight. Like I used to say this about you. I said, you know, the guy reminds me of Gary Payton, a guy that talk a lot, but sometimes he's up and down with backing it up. Now you're a guy that talks less, but you're actually backing it up a lot more now.
Yeah, I feel like that's what it's about in boxing. I feel like you live and you learn. Like where you come from, where I come from, I wasn't media trained. So we had to learn on a job. We had to learn on a job. So I made a lot of the mistakes that I made early in my boxing career. The way that I used to talk, things I used to say, like not focusing on my fights. Like, come on, like the time I fought Taylor, the biggest fight of my boxing career, I never watched him once. I never sat down and watched any of his tapes. I thought, you know what? I thought Dave Matthews, I'm going to win this fight again anyway. It's the same thing. It's got to get fit and go in there and fight. I was out with girls, like after gym, I had to quickly rush out of the gym. Oh, I've got to meet this girl. Because don't forget, the fight before I fought Taylor, I fought Dave Matthews a few months earlier. And that was like the biggest win of my boxing career. And that was when I kind of took off. I bought a new car, I bought an Audi. I went from driving a small little fucking Peugeot to driving a nice Audi now. Girls liking me, I'm getting attention, got the verified tick, I got followers. Come on, people want to know me, interview me. I was known, and I should have had more time to enjoy that lifestyle before I fought again. But I fought Dave Matthews in March, and then I fought Taylor. It was in July. 3.5, 4 months after. I should have had an extra 4 months just to enjoy that life, get it out of my system. Then I can focus again. But that's again it's experience now. Now I've learned. When I win a big fight, I'm taking 5 months off before I start getting ready for a new fight. So it's all about taking your time, don't rush things. But you live and you learn.
All right, guys, smash that like button. Ohara Davies in the building. Right, we're gonna mix and match it. All right, with some of the comments and then our questions also. All right, Raw, welcome, mate. Evening, gents. Ohara, what big names in the division, both foreign and domestic, would you like in 2021? Given that all the world belts would be tied up till the summer, I'd love to see you in there with Adrian Broner. What a press conference that would be.
Yeah, me and Adrian Broner would be a good fight. Everyone's saying they want me versus Adrian Broner, but to be honest, Adrian Broner hasn't said anything to offend me. He ain't done anything that I don't like, so he's not really on my map. What's really on my map is fighting the people that beat me and avenging those losses. That's the main thing on my mind. I'm not here to cause hype or like I used to. I want revenge. I want revenge, and I'm working harder than I ever have. And I'm working my. If anyone can get me a world title shot, I'm number 15 now in the WBC. I want number 10 next, and then I want number 5, and then bang, I want the belts. I'm not trying to fight people to get views and and all that shit. I want revenge. So I've got no one on my list but the people that beat me in the past.
You know what's interesting? Like, obviously, Josh Taylor is going to be involved in the massive undisputed fight with Ramirez this summer. Yeah. Is there any form of, like, I wouldn't say resentment, but do you look at that and say, you know what, that should have been me? I should be in those big undisputed fights.
Definitely not. If I felt like I got robbed in the Taylor fight, then maybe but I lost fair and square. So I've got to work. So I've got to work up there. I'm not resentment. I'm not, and I have never felt that in my heart. And the first time that I've been asked that, I've never felt anything like that. I'm happy for him. Yeah, he won a good fight against me. He beat other known names, Progreus, Victor Postel. He deserves where he's at. I didn't deserve it because I didn't focus for the fight when he focused. So he deserves it. I've just got to right my wrongs now, and my time will come.
So do you feel like a fully focused Ohara Davies beats Taylor? Do you feel that's the case?
Fully focused Ohara Davies beats anyone, I believe. Fully focused Ohara Davies beats anyone. Like, I know what I can do when I'm fit and when I'm ready. When I'm ready, there ain't no one that can stop me. The same way I was dealing with all of these guys in the amateurs, when I was broke, when I didn't have shit, when I was more hungry. When you turn pro and you get alive, things are different. But now I'm back on the grind now. I'm back on the grind, which I have been from the start of 2020. I'm back fully focused from when I fought Logan Yoon, fully focused. Ofori, McKenna, and whoever I face next is in for some shit because they're facing a good OD and an ever improving OD, smarter, better footwork, wiser, fitter, harder hitting.
Man, it's good to hear that, because the problem that you run into a lot of times is, I look at boxing as life, right? When something goes wrong, you got to solve it, and how you solve it is you got to take an inner look at sometimes yourself or the people around you, and you got to make those changes.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're sitting here saying, no, Taylor deserves it, I don't resent it because I wasn't ready, goes towards your progression. But going forward, like, how do you now deal with, because people are still going to judge you from your past. You can't outrun that. So how do you go going forward when you have people, heckling at you or making stupid comments about you and stuff like that?
People can say what they want. The thing about me, I've always been thick-skinned. People's words have never affected me. People can say what they want about me. Fans, boxers, they can say what they want. To me, it's all a joke. Like to me, this is all a game. I never take it seriously. So no one can affect me. The only people that can affect me is me and the people that's in my inner circle. So people can say what they want. People can judge me from what I've done in the past. I've got nothing to prove to them. I've got something to prove to myself and my team. So that's how I handle it. I look at what they write or what they say. I see it, I can hear it, but I never let it get inside of me. I feel like you got to train yourself, and when you're going to be not just in this industry, up in any industry, you have to say, I have to be thick-skinned. I can't let words affect me. I can't let words affect me. Anyone's words. Otherwise, you're done. You can't live.
All right, guys, get your questions in. So OD or Ohara Davies, 2 Chainz. So did I say 2 Chainz? 2 Tanks. I always get you mixed up with a rapper, man. 2 Chainz, man.
He's from my city.
He's from Chicago, yeah? 2 Chainz. I didn't even know that. I know Chief Keef's from your side. Okay. All right, guys, you know what? We've got to talk about the heavyweight shakeup. Now, this week, there's been a lot of talk. You know, undisputed fights, arbitration, interim titles. Bo, I'm going to put it forward to you. It would seem that this fight between Joshua and Fury is getting closer. The percentages keep going up. It looks like we could have the monster fight on our hands in the summer, early summer. How you feel about it?
I think that's the fight that needs to happen. Listen, I understand, and put it like this. I feel Deontay Wilder's pain, right? You're a victim of COVID-19, okay? You supposed to have had your trilogy fight, COVID hit, it didn't happen. Then the network screwed you out of the date that you wanted in December. Okay, you had a date, you got screwed out of the date. And, you know, Tyson Fury is like, well, I'm not going to wait around no longer, man. I'm going to look to Anthony Joshua. And props to Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua even said, man, if I got to drop the WBO, I drop the WBO. Because Joshua and Fury is bigger than, you know what I'm saying, the belt. Okay? Yeah. But we do want to see undisputed. So in a time when we say, hey, man, we need undisputed, we need the best fighting the best, I don't have a problem with them going forward with that. I get Usyk, he's the WBO mandatory. I get Deontay Wilder, you know, hey, I should get a chance in my trilogy fight. But we have an opportunity to see something that we haven't seen since the last undisputed champion was a Brit, I believe.
Lennox Lewis.
You know, some guy in the Hall of Fame named Lennox Lewis.
Lennox Lewis.
So, yeah, man, listen, man, I think that's the fight that definitely needs to happen. And they need to go ahead on, like, everybody needs to go ahead on, get on board and allow it to happen next. I understand the argument that Wilder has, and I understand the argument that Usyk has. I really do. But it's been a very long time, and we shouldn't be delaying this anymore. So me personally, I'm all for undisputed, because you need a king of the mountain. If you got all these belts out there and you got 4 different champions or 2 different champions, no, man, we need a king of the mountain, man.
OD. Big fight ahead, heavyweight shake up. We might just have the biggest fight in boxing going down May, June, I'm hearing.
Yeah.
How excited are you?
Very excited about the fight, mate. I'm thinking, get me on the undercard. It's going to be a massive event. And if it happens,
Speak to Josh. Yeah.
If it happens, I want to be a part of it. If it happens, I want to be a part of it. But it's a fight that, if you asked me a few months ago, I would have said, nah, it's not happening. Too much politics. Politics always stops fights happening when they're meant to happen. Pacquiao, Floyd, prime example. You got many other fights that should have happened years ago and it didn't happen. But if this one actually happens when it's meant to happen, I'm going to be very shocked. I'm going to be very, very, very shocked. What channels are going to be on? Where's it going to be? Who's going to come into the ring first? Who's going to come in second? Who's the A-side fighter? Who's going to choose the ref or the judges? Who's going to, if they can come to an agreement in all these things, I'd be very shocked. But the fight that everyone wants to see, and the winner of the fight, I feel like the loser of the fight, they can come back. But the person that wins, what's next? You've completed boxing. Let's say Tyson Fury wins. I'll say to him, no. Let's say, let's say Tyson Fury wins. I'll say, you're basically done. Retire. You beat Deontay Wilder. You beat AJ. But if AJ wins it, I'll say AJ, he can fight Deontay Wilder. Then he'll be done. But the person that basically their boxing career is over. I don't know if that's quite early as well. But after this fight, there's not much for any of them to do.
Interesting. All right, let's interact with the viewers a bit. All right. Okay, OD has really matured. Well done, young man. I was saying that to you. Remember when I saw you? I was like, what? Is this OD? Like, this guy's different.
You know, you live and you learn. You grow.
Last year, yeah.
Yeah, you know, you grow. I guess I've grown a bit. So you know what happens with age. Some people don't grow But I'm glad that you know, I listen to other people, get wisdom, get understanding, and with age you grow.
Touching that paper, man, it changes you, man.
You get used to the lifestyle.
All right. October Red, how you doing, love? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. All right. Subscribe to October Reb's YouTube channel. She's doing good things out there right now. So subscribe. All right. So she's put down Usyk is in a good position. He can earn twice by waiting. Step aside. If he doesn't fight Joyce in the interim, and then he becomes mandatory for Wilder or for the winner of AJ Fury. All right, Bo, straight to yourself on that one. Yeah, he's in a great position.
Yeah, Usyk is in a very he's in a very good position. Now for me personally, he shouldn't have to fight Joe Joyce because he's already in the position as a mandatory, correct? So if he decides to take step aside, it should be I get the winner. However, the fan in me would love to see Joe Joyce and Usyk. I think that's an incredible fight to put on the undercard. It's a good test for Usyk because you'll be fighting in my honest opinion, a more legitimate heavyweight. I'm not knocking him when he fought Michael Hunter, but let's face it, Michael Hunter had to go down in weight for cruiserweight, and then he was off for 2 years. Then he fought a replacement in Chaz Witherspoon. So I definitely think Usyk fighting Joe Joyce is a big test for him, and it's a big test for Joe Joyce coming off the biggest fight of his career. People look at Joe Joyce's record, but don't realize Joe Joyce has been around for a long time. He's 30-some plus years old. He's a real grown man. You know, you know, he's a real, and that was the difference what you saw between someone that has been through life as a fighter and someone like Daniel Dubois, who is still kind of finding his way. So Joe Joyce was able to be calm under that type of pressure, which would be good for Usyk. Joe Joyce has a very good jab. We saw that against Dubois. That's good for somebody like Usyk. Usyk will be fighting someone who is a bigger man and knows how to use his reach and use his size. So I think that's a good fight for both of them. But another fight I think should be on the undercard is Ohara Davies versus Lewis Ritson. That should be on the undercard, man. Yeah. I think that's an awesome fight to have on the undercard.
It's a fight. One thing, when Eddie threw me under the bus all those years ago, I said to myself, I'll never fight on a Matchroom show again. But if the money's right, if the price is right, they can always get me back on a Matchroom show against anyone. Lewis Ritson has never done anything to offend me. He's actually meant to spar him once before one of his camps. They come up to me, asked me to spar. So we've always been on like good terms, but it's boxing and it's business. If it makes money, it makes sense. So me and Lewis Ritson can fight the fight that I'm bang up for and a fight that I feel like I'd win quite easily. So, you know, as long as Eddie offers the right money, and it'll get me higher in the world rankings, because I'm sure Lewis Ritson's up there, he's up there in the ranking, isn't he?
Yes, somewhere. He is. He's number 2 by the WBA, I believe, or IBF, one of them.
Hell yeah, I like the sound of that. Got one of the WBAs right here.
Yeah, right. Well, that's why I mentioned Lewis Ritson. I know you got one on right there.
So, So I'll fight Lewis Ritson. You know, just tell them offer me the check. We can have it.
You can have it. All right. October Red again. What's happening in Wilder? Rumors of Charles Martin bout. Now, Bo, Deontay Wilder's manager, Shelley Finkel, saying that it's gone past mediation now. It's arbitration. Mm-hmm. So they're really trying to force through something, which, well, the third fight, they're trying to force that through.
Right.
Would you make of that whole scenario?
I think what you see is the fight is so fruitful. Okay, let's be honest here, and some of our other Americans that here may get mad at me. And you know what, man? That's fine. You know, y'all know what to find me right here, right? You know what I'm saying? Hey, Pro Beez, you've been knowing me for a long time now. I don't run away. Smoke, man. You've known me for a while. I don't run away from shit. You know what I'm saying? Here's the truth. There's more money in Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua than there is in Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury in a trilogy fight. Okay. And the reason behind it is number one, the way Deontay Wilder got beat in the rematch, and number two, Deontay Wilder, because of COVID and, you know, him being quiet, it fizzled out and fizzled down. Okay. So there's more money in Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. So much more money that I believe that they'll probably wind up paying Deontay Wilder some sort of $10-15 million step aside.
You heard about 10 mil, yeah.
Okay, right. That's you know what, man? That's $10-15 million. Even if it's 15, that's almost half of, a little bit over half of what you probably got when you fought Tyson Fury the first time. Okay, so take that. All right, fight Charles Martin. That's an actual good fight because to me, Charles Martin is. I think Charles Martin is ranked high by the IBF. He might even be an IBF
number two,
okay,
IBF.
Number 2. Deontay's number 1 by the WBC. He can fight Charles Martin. If he beats Charles Martin, he'll be number 1 and number 1 by WBC, IBF, maybe even a mandatory position. Then on top of that, it's a good fight because where Deontay Wilder is mentally, we don't know. Charles Martin might be able to win that fight. So this is a good test for Deontay Wilder. So for me, I like this fight. I think they're going to wind up paying him step aside, and I definitely think that fight is a fight that's going to happen next. And it's an interesting fight too.
OD.
Go.
Wilder, Charles Martin. Charles Martin's had a bit of a revival since that defeat to Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
Is that a fight that interests you, Wilder against Charles Martin?
I'm interested in that fight, but I'm not so interested in that fight. I'm not totally caught up in the fight. I don't think anyone is. Like Deontay Wilder's hype's kind of died down. He's been a bit too quiet over the past few months, and also the way he got beat. I'm not totally interested in that fight, but I will be interested in it just to see how he can come back. Is he going to be that same fighter? How is he going to come back? Has it affected him mentally? Because what people don't understand in this game, when you're out there knocking everyone out and then you get beat for the first time, and not when you get beat, when you get stopped, it can damage you mentally. It's like when I fought Taylor, I'm there beating everyone. When I got stopped in my next fight, I come in scared. I was actually scared. Every time the guy went down, I said to him, please don't get up. Please, I was afraid until that final bell rang. I was like, phew, the nightmare's over. And a loss, it can do you. So how is he going to come back from this loss? And he took it hard, the way that he's been online posting and blah blah. We all know that is a loss that he took really hard. Now we got to see, is he able to come back? And if he can't come back, Charles Martin could win the fight. So it's good to see what Deontay Wilder, what mental strength he's got.
I would say to you also as well, OD, before we get to the viewers, that okay, so we need to keep Deontay Wilder happy with step aside money. We need to keep Usyk happy with step aside money. That would probably mean that a location such as Saudi Arabia kind of makes sense because you're talking about the big P. Yeah, these guys, they want big step aside money. So with the money that's out in Saudi, maybe it looks realistic that the fight might actually be out there.
If they fight in Saudi, that's $100 million fight. Because that's the kind of money that they're willing to pay for a fight like that. Think about Joshua and Ruiz.
Yeah.
And I think that was a $50-60 million fight. So, yeah, they fight out in Saudi, man. I could see that being a $100 million fight easy.
Yeah.
Mega money we're talking about.
Yeah.
Mega money, man.
Yeah, I might come out of retirement to get on that undercard.
I hear that. Yeah. All right. Guys, smash that like button. OD, both from Free Kings in the building. Let's get to the questions. Smash the like button. Get your questions in. All right. Raw once again. Question for Free Kings. Bo, have we seen the end of the classic, well-schooled US heavyweights? All the up-and-comers with a good amateur pedigree are European or Central Asian.
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
That's a very good question. I don't think we've seen the end of it per se, but I think what has happened is because you got guys like you got Adam Kalnagi, who was a good boxer. You got Michael Hunter. Michael Hunter is a dark horse. Michael Hunter, he's another very, very good boxer. So I don't think it's the end, but I definitely think it's few and far in between because the reality is when it comes to Deontay Wilder, he has pretty much sold this idea of just all you need is power. If you have power, then you can overcome anything. And as we're finding out now, because when you start running into the elite level fighters, it's hard to knock them out. And then, of course, when you think about elite level fighters, as of right now, I can only think of two, and that is Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Deontay Wilder is not an elite level fighter. He just has elite level power. So I don't think it's the end, but I definitely think, it's going to be few and far in between. And then a lot of your European fighters and your Central Asian fighters, they spend more time in the amateurs honing their skills than a lot of U.S. fighters. A lot of U.S. fighters have most of the time, like Deontay Wilder, Peter Quillen, what's my man name? Tevin Farmer. A lot of these guys will have only a handful of amateur fights, 20, 15, 20, 30, 40 amateur fights, and boom, and then they turn pro. So it's more on the job training with them. And that's a result of what you've seen with Deontay Wilder. He picked up when he was 19, won a bronze medal, and immediately went pro.
All right. That's why I like Bowen, man. He knows his shit, man. All right. Okay. All right, here we got it again. You done started something, Bowen, man, with OD, man. 140 is a good division, lots of talent. Ohara versus Ritson would be a good fight, in my opinion.
Yeah, let's get it on. Let's get it on. You know,
you're gonna make the call tomorrow. Gonna make the call tomorrow, yeah?
Mate, they gotta call me. They gotta pull me off. They got yeah. They got to tell me how much they're offering because I don't need Matchroom. You know, after they threw me under the bus, they thought I needed them. I don't need them, so no way would I ever approach Eddie Hearn and be like, "Let me fight one of your guys." No, I'm like, "Fuck you, motherfuckers! You threw me under the bus. You want me pick up the phone, pay me, and you pay me more because you threw me under the bus." But yeah, I don't believe it'll be hard to make because we're both under MTK. We're both signed to MTK, and in fact, I don't believe it'll be too hard for me either. Right. No offense, I like Lewis Ritson, but from what I've seen of him, I haven't seen anything special. So it might be different once you get in there with him, but from what I've seen, I don't think it could be any issue for me.
That fight he had with Robbie Davis Jr. last year was a real blood and guts fight. I mean, they went into the trenches, man.
I'm not trying to go into the trenches because that's how you leave this game.
All right, take no punishment. Yeah.
Well, when you look at who Richton lost to, he lost to a guy. I think his name was Franco, or I can't remember the name. Fonseca. So I can't remember his name. But the guy that beat Lewis Richton, he never got that get back. But that guy was somebody that Lewis Richton to the beat. That guy was a C-level fighter. So, and this, I'm not just saying it because he's on with us. But if you look at the guys Ohara Davies lost to, well, these are like top quality world class fighters. Jack Cotterall and Josh Taylor. I want to see the fight because I think it's a good measuring stick for both of these guys as far as getting back into the title hunt, because I think he is number 2 by the WBA, but also you got a more mature and a more focused Ohara Davies versus a Lewis Richton that seemed to be on the high. So it's kind of like guys at the top clashing, and that's what you don't want to see, one guy here and they clash. No, both guys at the top, and I think that's why I think that's a good fight.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. The fight won't be too hard for me. You know what I mean? Like I said, he looks quite ABC from what I've seen, and it won't be no issue for me. It's like, I remember being sat in the hotel the night before my last fight, and I knew that I was going to win easy, and I knew that I was like too fit, too strong, too sharp for him to win. And I just remember just being sat in the hotel room, and I just sat down and I thought to myself, are they really going to be paying me just to beat up this guy? Like, am I really going to get money and fame just to beat up this guy that ain't even on my level? Like, it's not even going to be a hard fight. I'm going to win this fight easily. Like, yeah, they're paying me decent dough. I'm going to win a massive deal. I've got a contract, and I'm getting fame. When I fight Lewis Ritson, it'll be the same vibe. When I fight Lewis Ritson, it'll be the very same thing. They will pay me, give me fame, to go in there and beat up the guy.
Wow. OD's on that full Wednesday night smoke. Wow. Okay. All right. National line. Right. To you, Ohara. No one wants to see the third fight, in my opinion. It was already Fury 2, Wilder 0. So a third fight for you also as well. No interest in that?
To be honest, I'd be interested not because of James Wilder, but because of Tyson Fury. I like to see how he's improved because he's been off for so long. Don't forget how big this guy got, and he come back and he's improved. After each fight, he's improved. And the first fight, he done good. The second fight, he done great. So if they fight again, I want to see how good Tyson's got. So it would interest me only because I'm really interested in seeing Tyson Fury. But Deontay Wilder, the hype's kind of died down. People are not as interested in seeing him as they were, and the same thing with me. I'm not as interested in seeing him as I was. He needs to win a few fights, beat Charles Martin, beat someone else, and then come back into title contention. You can't just go and get stopped. If you lost some points, if it was a bit close, then yeah, you can't go and get stopped and still expect to be at that same level. It's like when I fought Taylor, I got stopped. I didn't come out trying to get every match. Let me fight him again. Like, no, I got stopped. I didn't lose on points. I'm like, mate, let me sit my ass down, fight a few up and coming fights, and then when it's my time, I will come back. And with Deontay Wilder, it should be the same thing. Fight a few other guys, Charles Martin, beat these guys, and then work your way back up.
But I must say that, okay, probably not a third fight. There's probably not a lot of interest in that. But Deontay Wilder against Dillian Whyte, I won't lie to you, I'm very much interested in that. What about you?
You know, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that, because that's actually that would be a good fight. If you look at the guys, like, and again, I know Americans are gonna get mad at me, and that's cool. But if you look at Dillian Whyte's resume, man, he's fought better opposition than Deontay Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they hate hearing it, but he has. I think Deontay Wilder fought a Dominic Brazzelli, but he had already been beat by Anthony Joshua. Okay, right? Mm-hmm. You got to give him Bermane Stiverne, because Bermane Stiverne was a champion. Okay. Then you have Luis Ortiz, right?
Twice.
He never did beat Tyson Fury. He didn't. He drawed with him the first fight and lost to him. Okay, right? But now if you look at Dillian Whyte fought Oscar Rivas. Of course, he lost to Povetkin. In the early part of his fight, he lost Lucas. He fought Lucas Browning. Early part of his career, he lost to Anthony Joshua. And I believe that was a pay-per-view for the British title, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay.
Pay-per-view for the British title. You know, so if you look at the guys that he's fought, that's ranked in the top 10 amongst all heavyweights, I think Dillian Whyte has fought and beat 3 of those dudes. Mm. So I like this fight. I think he should look at fighting Dillian Whyte. And one of the reasons, I mean, I know he's not going to, and I kind of understand it, because he felt like when he wanted Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn was throwing Dillian Whyte on him when he wanted Joshua. So I kind of understand it. But for me, the only reason why you got to understand, man, and I get what Ohara was saying, but, you know, because Deontay had that, you know, because he had that rematch clause, he feel he's entitled to fight Tyson Fury again. And the reason why for me I'm not interested in it is because mentally I don't think Deontay Wilder has grown up mentally, or I haven't seen nothing different to show me he's going to be a different fighter. Who's going to be his trainer? I don't know who his trainer is. So I don't know if he's learning anything new, or he's going to be the same Deontay Wilder. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're going to be the same Deontay Wilder, then that Deontay Wilder is not going to beat Tyson Fury. We know this, you know? So Dillian Whyte, in my honest opinion, if you fight Charles Martin, and then if Dillian Whyte beats Povetkin, and then you fight Dillian Whyte, because Dillian Whyte should have beat Povetkin. That was a great fight. If Dillian Whyte looks impressive again in beating Povetkin in the rematch, yeah, man, I definitely think that's a fight you'd have to look at. And the animosity between these two guys, and like these two guys can talk each other into everybody wanting to see that fight, man. So yeah, I definitely think that. I mean, me personally as a boxing fan, yeah, man, I think that's something you should look at. You should definitely look at that, man.
OD, imagine the banter. Imagine the pre-fight hype in that fight. The animosity is already there.
It'd be crazy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it would be, you know, I mean, Dillian Whyte is a funny dude, kind of just like his brother. But he's a funny dude because he said something about when he told Eddie Hearn, when Eddie Hearn wanted him to fight Andy Ruiz, he said, no, Andy Ruiz got to fight with diabetes, type 2, the bad one. He said he got to go with the bad one. So, no, man, I definitely think right now, because, mind you, after Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury fight, well, there's a rematch clause. So they'll fight again, right? So if Deontay Wilder fight Charles Martin, Dillian Whyte's win Povetkin, you guys should look at that because, honestly speaking, when you start looking at what the top 5 heavyweights, you got Joshua, you got Fury. People are still going to name Wilder. You got Usyk, and Dylan White is around there someplace. So yeah, most definitely, man.
In some ways, all right, we're going to get to the viewers. In some ways, I feel a little bit sorry from Dylan White because he worked for a long time to get that title shot. And you look at these potential 2 fights between Fury and Joshua, that's a long time. That's a long time, you know.
Joseph Parker. That's the other guy he beat, Joseph Parker. Dylan White.
Parker,
yeah. So when you look at that, Oscar Rivas, Lucas Brownie, Joseph Parker, those were guys that was at that time was in the top 10 rankings of the heavyweights, you know. So yeah.
It's crazy. All right, Zach, what up, mate? What up? Taste of Paradise, yeah? Taste of Paradise in Chesson. Okay. Josh Taylor versus Teofimo. Who you got your money on? Ohara.
Don't know. Just one of those things where everyone's got their own opinion, but we gotta wait till the fight happens. They're both 2 different styles. They're both good fighters. They're both world class. They both haven't been beat. So just one of those things. We just gotta wait till the fight actually happens. Same thing with AJ, Tyson Fury. People say who's gonna win. Like everyone's saying AJ could do this or Tyson could do this. Like we don't know. we don't know till the fight happens. And it'll be a great fight for sure. It'll be a fight that will sell. They'll make a lot of money, but I don't know.
Okay. All right. Nathan, welcome, mate. Wilder against Ruiz Jr. would be good. Both with PBC. So it could happen down the line, bro.
Yeah. Hey, is that Nathan from Main Event? I think that might be that man, Nathan, the UK cat.
All right, Nathan, let us know, yeah? Let us know.
Yeah, if that's him, man. What's up, man? I haven't heard from him in a while. Honestly speaking, I'm more interested in Deontay Wilder fighting Charles Martin and Deontay Wilder fighting Dylan White than Andy Ruiz. And the reason why is because, again, his last performance against Anthony Joshua was a hell of uninspiring to me. I don't know where he is. And the thing was, he's a guy that once he got to the top of the mountain, he soaked in all the glory and stopped training and enjoyed, it's somebody said something, I think it was a fighter or said something a long time ago, man. As hard as it is to get to the top, it's just as hard staying on top. And he got to the top, but didn't realize what it takes to stay on top. So in his last performance, man, he was uninspiring. So no, I would rather. I don't really care for Wilder and Andy Ruiz Jr. I mean, yeah, it's a good fight because Ruiz, he was a former champion. But for me personally, I'd rather see Deontay Wilder take on Charles Martin or Dylan White before he fights Andy Ruiz. Like Ruiz got to win a fight. He got to come back and win a fight and look good winning the fight before I believe this is the guy to get back into the ring of boxing.
All right. So Ohara's got to shoot off, but Ohara, one last question before you shoot off. All right, October Red. Do you think Wilder really wants to carry on boxing?
That's a good question.
And I agree, Charles Martin stepped his game up.
Do I think Deontay Wilder wants to carry on boxing? Probably not. I think he enjoyed it while he was winning and all the glory and the praise. Now he lost. He's being trolled left, right, and center. And the trolling's not going to stop, which is why he don't really post that much, because he knows as soon as he comes online, they're going to be mentioning Tyson Fury, pictures of him on the floor, pictures of Tyson's hands up like that. And I don't think he really wants to do it. But I think he will continue. But I don't feel like he really wants to. But one of those things that only time will tell. Do I agree with Charles Martin and stepped his game up? 100%. I feel like when he fought AJ, after that fight, I heard he went out and he bought a Bentley first thing. He went out spunking money, splashing money, and I feel like he's made a few of his mistakes years ago, and now that he's older, just like me, you live and you learn. I feel like Charles Martin's lived and he's learned, and he's made a lot of money. Probably spent some of it on the things that he shouldn't have, and now he's changed up, which is what we've seen in his last few fights, because he's been winning, and he's been looking good.
All right, man. We got to thank OD for passing through, man. He's got to go because I know he's training early tomorrow, man. So life of an athlete, man. We'll get you on again, man. Thanks for your time, man. OD, man.
Anytime. Thank you for having me.
Cheers, man.
All right,
Okay,
man.
guys. Bye.
Cheers. All right, Bo, we continue. We'll get another half hour in with the fans. All right, so Charles Martin against Gerald Washington. That was on the Frew and Wilder undercard. Was very impressive. I think Manny Robles was training him for that fight, and he looked good.
He looked almost. He actually surprised me in that fight, man, because Joe Washington just came off of a big win when he came back in a fight that it looked like he was going to get beaten in, when I think it was Robert Helenius. And he did not look, it looked like he was going to get stopped. I at one point thought the dude was going to quit because he was, it really wasn't going his way, but he came back against Robert Helenius. So Charles Martin, of course, we know he's been out, wins the title, loses to Joshua, and, kind of lost his mind or whatever it was, or couldn't handle the fame properly. And then he comes back. And that's a huge win for him against Gerald Washington. So, who actually, in my opinion, was probably the bigger man at that time. So that was a huge win for him. But I think I'm not going to say Wilder doesn't want to fight. If he loses, if he loses to Charles Martin, or if he was to fight the trilogy and he would have lost the trilogy, then I think maybe we might have would have seen the end of him. If he loses to Charles Martin, we very well could see the end of him if he loses to Charles Martin, because that's going to be a tough one to come back from.
All right, guys, get your questions in. We're going to do another. Hey, Bo, how long you got?
I got another 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, okay, we're going to do that, guys. Get your questions in. We're talking about the heavyweight shake-up, Pro Beez, both from Three Kings, UK, and the US of A. All right. Okay, so Ahmed, Najib, Charles the Teletubby Martin. He's shaped up a bit though. From the last time I saw Charles Martin, I think Manny Robles is really kind of whipping him into shape. Do you know what I mean? So, and what is he? Number 2 in the IBF rankings. So
I think so. Yeah, I think you might be right. I think he is number 2 by the IBF ranking. Because when he fought Gerald Washington, I thought he got bumped up really high when he fought Gerald Washington.
He was good that night. He was good that night in Las Vegas. All right. Wilder versus Romanov would have been a good comeback. Ha, ha, ha.
Hey, you know what, man? You got to like the fans, man. Listen, man, I don't get mad at what they say. You got to like the fans, man. They keep it, they keep it going sometimes. But right about now, though, speaking about Deontay Wilder, me personally, man, I think he should just go ahead on and look past the trilogy. And like we said, look at fighting those guys. We talk about the Dylan Whites, the Charles Martin, and maybe even, depending on how he look, maybe even the Andy Ruiz. Once I see what trainer he's with, I got to see what kind of trainer he's with. And it's got to be an authoritarian type of trainer. It can't be a passive-aggressive trainer. It got to be an authoritarian type trainer. A trainer's going to be like, hey, man, look, do this, do that. Because, you think, I remember Deontay Wilder said something. I was like, what the hell? When he said, no, I don't really jog. I don't really run. I do other things other than running. I'm like, well, that kind of what builds your stamina up with your legs. Maybe that's why, it kind of builds up your legs there. It makes your foundation strong is the jogging, So, no, he's going to need an authoritarian type of trainer. So I'm curious to see who trains him. And that's why I'm a little hesitant in going all in, on his ability to come back fighting Charles Martin, because I don't know who's training him. Because if it's somebody who is passive aggressive, then we're not going to see a different Deontay Wilder. When Deontay Wilder comes back, we have to see it. Like, we got to see that Deontay Wilder we saw in 2015 at Beez remains to Hearn. That Deontay Wilder, we got to see that Deontay moving, the jabs. We got to see that. If we just see a Deontay Wilder just waiting to land one big punch, that's not going to get it, man.
Okay, all right, guys, get your questions in. Smash the like button. Okay, we're going to try and get through as many questions as possible. All right, much love to OD for passing through, for doing that video on Boominator TV in my uncle's restaurant, The Taste of Cyprus. Yes, in Cheshunt, North London. We
What do
behind
they
you, brother.
serve? They serve chicken there, man.
Sorry?
They serve chicken at that restaurant.
Grilled chicken, grilled meats, all that.
Ah,
It's a restaurant. Got all that good stuff in North London.
man.
But on the note of Boominator TV, RIP Heavy D, who passed away sadly at the end of last year.
Right.
Yeah, man. RIP Heavy D, man. Sad story.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, guys. Get your questions in. We're talking about the heavyweight shake-up. All right, we're both in Three Kings Boxing. Okay, so look. Okay, so the big fight itself. I'm thinking, to be honest, there might be more complications. We talked about the step-aside money already, all right?
Right.
Now, it's not minor step-aside money. It is big step-aside money, right? And there's no gate. So either the fans are going to have to pay through the nose, the pay-per-view, right, would have to be, in the UK, would have to be record-breaking to finance all these bits and bobs, right? Because there is no gate. Unless they move it to somewhere where they can have a lot of fans, a territory where they can have a lot of fans. They talked about Saudi, but I don't know, how many people would you pack into an arena in Saudi? Is everybody going to go there? Is it going to be a packed arena? We don't know.
I think that the thing with Saudi Arabia, though, is they're just willing to pay to have that fight there, right? Because they have that kind of money. Like, they're trying to make them, and they're trying to sort of do Saudi Arabia and make it an established boxing location. So they're probably willing to pay that kind of money to have to fight there. Most people that'll be at that fight probably will be most people from that country, or you may have now the one thing I will say about UK fans will travel, right? When Deontay Wilder fought Tyson Fury, or when Ricky Hatton fought Floyd Mayweather, when what's his name? Roman Gonzalez fought Calify. You guys travel. The Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fight was huge because 20-some-odd thousand UK guys traveled, right? So the one thing about you guys are travel. So I think that they're looking at that. Then they're looking at the people there, and I think you can do pretty good. Then of course they're talking pay-per-view, right? So I think they can do pretty good. The only thing that may hurt them is that time here in the U.S. So they would solely have to kind of depend on people working off the same time zone as you guys, more the European factor, because the U.S. the time zone would be like, by the time the fight comes on, it'll be like kind of early over here for us, you know, especially on a Saturday. So, but another location that they letting fans in, of course, is Texas. You know, I think they're doing half fans in Texas, so that's 50,000 people in the stadium. Maybe you can do 25,000 and do a pay-per-view, maybe $60-$70. But personally, man, it's a shame, because to me that's a fight that should be at Wembley Stadium, 100,000 people, Wembley Stadium. Yeah. You know, that's that fight will blow AJ's previous record with Vladimir Klitschko. You know, so yeah, I think that's the only bad thing about that for me.
In some ways, could you argue and say, look, I know there's a risk factor. Could you say, look, why don't these guys just have their mandatory fights, right? Let this pandemic kind of calm itself down, and then just fight each other in a year? Or is that just too long and just too risky?
It's probably too risky, only because of when you look at what happened. Like, if I'm Eddie Hearn, I just want to go ahead on and have the fight, right? Because Anthony Joshua did lose when he fought Andy Ruiz. He wasn't playing in that, right? Then, of course, he had a tough fight with Big. He was going to fight Big Barry Miller, which was a tough fight. Now he just fought another top quality guy, Kubrat Pulev. Okay, so I think right about now you don't want to risk it. I mean, I'm not looking at the rankings, so just off the top of my head, I think if you was, Usyk would be a problem because of his movement. and his boxing ability. So, you know, he would be a problem. Although Anthony Joshua has come a long way in boxing. He used to be a stationary, straight up and down fighter. Now, because of Andy Ruiz, he's actually embracing the whole being a boxer type thing. Then with Tyson Fury, you do have the Wilder. They would definitely have to do the Wilder trilogy. Okay, so you have the Wilder trilogy. I don't think one punch is enough to knock out a Tyson Fury. I really don't. So if that's what they're counting on, that's not going to be it. But I definitely think, like, you know, you got guys out there who are somewhat of a threat to Tyson Fury. I think Michael Hunter is a dude who has the skills to be a bit of a problem for Tyson Fury. So for me right now, man, I think it's more of a threat on the Anthony Joshua side than anything, because he has 3 belts, which requires 3 contenders, and any one of those dudes on a given night, if they come ready, can, you know, dethrone him. So you don't want to take the chance on that. So it's crazy, because you got to strike while the iron's hot, and the iron ain't gonna get no hotter than right now.
All right, okay, guys. All right, Ross question: Star Wars Wilder is still a big threat to AJ or White, as neither moves their head much or has fast feet.
I think he's more of a threat to White than Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua has started up in his game with his boxing skills. If you watch Andy Ruiz, if you watch Kubrat Pulev, even he started up in his game more with his boxing skills. He doesn't have fast feet, but then again, you have to understand something. Deontay Wilder hasn't shown to be an offensive juggernaut as far as being swift to his feet. He just looks to try to, you know, land that right hand on you. So I think he's more of a threat to Dylan White. Dylan White still, you know, sort of feet can still use some work, so to speak. His feet can still use some work. And you're right about him not moving his head, because Povetkin hit him with a punch from a simple move where he just kind of slid to the side and pow, caught him with an uppercut. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think he's more of a threat to Anthony Joshua than Dylan White, in my opinion.
All right, Ben Desire says, who wins, Amir Khan or Kell Brook? Now this might actually finally happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
It might actually happen, bro. You know, this is mad. It might happen in 2021. And if it does, okay, we can say, okay, who would have won in their prime? We can talk about that. That's another conversation. But right now, who wins? Burning Desire saying.
It's hard for me because I don't care about that fight. That's how long they made me wait, man. I don't really care about that fight. If I had to go with somebody, I would go with probably the more active fighter in Kell Brooks. He just got done fighting Terrence Crawford. Amir Khan hasn't fought in a while, I don't think, has he?
I think it's he fought in Saudi, lost.
Okay, and that was what?
You're in Saudi. I don't know what year.
Yeah, I think that might have been before the pandemic or during the pandemic.
Before the pandemic.
Before the pandemic. So he's been out for a while. So I would kind of go with Kell Brooks now. And here's the reason why. Amir Khan still has the chin. Okay. But you can also make a case that maybe Kell is done to the point where Amir Khan with the fast hands would be enough. Amir Khan still doesn't move his feet. He's got quick hands, but he doesn't, like, he stays in the trap too long. He like stays right in the trap when he's throwing his combinations, and he doesn't get out. Like, he doesn't get in and get out. He stays. That's how Canelo was able to catch him, because he'll stay right there inside in that distance for you to catch him. So it's a good fight, man. I would just go with Kell Brook.
Can we? Okay, so they both fought the same opponent, right? And what some boxing fans have said to me, can you base the outcome of this fight on both their performances against Crawford, because Khan went a bit longer than Kell Brook did? Or is it just a case of, look, it doesn't matter. It's just the styles will make the fight, and I believe this person will win because of these factors?
Well, you have to put it like this. You have to base it off something, so you would have to look at common opponents. But when you're looking at a common opponent, you have to look at where that opponent was at that time when they fought him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And when I look at the Terrence Crawford that Khan fought versus Terrence Crawford that Brooke fought a Terrence Crawford that was coming off of being pissed off because he's trying to get her on Spence. That's the Terrence Crawford he ran into, right? He ran into the Terrence Crawford that everybody was saying, yo, man, that dude Mean Machine hurt you. So he ran into a mean, already angry, upset Terrence Crawford, you know, who was on the Seek and Destroy mission. As to where Amir Khan ran into a, you know, although, you know, he's always on the Seek and Destroy mission, but I think it was more of a mild version of a Terrence Crawford, who was just, you know, who's just in there like, all right, man, I'm just in here to, you know what I'm saying, to get this work in and we good. So, but you still got to base it off of that. So for me personally, though, I really don't think at this point of both of these guys' careers that even matters, because by the time both of them even fought Terrence Crawford, they probably both were done. You know, like it would be hard to get a proper read because both of these guys were kind of like past it, you know.
Either way, they've had so much beef in the past. It's just like, well, you're just gonna settle it. 2021, just settle this beef once and for all, and I don't know, just have a tear up.
Yeah,
just have a tear up.
You know what? You know what's funny about that is I can see them dudes fighting twice. I can see them fighting twice, and it would be solely over in the UK. I can see them guys fighting twice, man.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. Look, okay, the fight is not what it was 5 years ago, but man, we're in a pandemic, man. I'm watching all types of stuff at the moment, man. I'm watching UFC more now. I'm watching, you know what I mean? I'm watching old football games. I'm watching.
I watched one the other night with Spain.
Yeah, man, let it happen. Let it happen, man. It's pandemic now. Let's just get these fights rolling. And, you know, on the basis of what people been putting in the chats and the forums, they don't mind this fight. They don't mind it. All right. Last question before we sign out. Okay. We'll do two questions, actually. Ben Desire, Galahad versus Warrington. Do you think Warrington vacates?
He better not. He better not. Warrington better not vacate. You didn't fight Shakur Stevenson, right? You waited to, you know, you guys were set to fight. And, of course, you were set to fight when you was with Frank. You got under Eddie, and, you know, you guys wanted something new or something different, and then waited too long, and Shakur Stevenson wound up going up to 130 pounds, which as soon as he went to 130, Josh Warrington was dropping Shakur Stevenson's name all over the freaking place. You're not looking at Gary Russell. Gary Russell's right there, but, you know, you and Gary, you know, you haven't looked at Gary Russell, and I can't even remember who's the other champion right there right now at 126 in between them. But then you got Emmanuel Navarrete is there. So, no, man, he better not vacate. I think he definitely needs to fight Galahad. That was a very close fight, in my honest opinion, the first fight. You can make the argument that Galahad won that fight. You can definitely make that argument. So, and Kid Galahad's a problem. He's a problem. Yeah, man, he's like Warrington got by the fillings on his teeth. He got by the fillings on his teeth, if you ask me. So no, man, he needs to rematch him and make it definitive without question. Like sometimes what you have to do is a fighter. Floyd did it. Like when people thought Floyd lost I think the dude's name was Castano or Castano. I can't remember his name. Castano. When people thought Floyd lost to Castano, Floyd rematched Castano. Same thing you had with my man who's super middleweight. He was the former WBC champion. David Benavidez, when David Benavidez lost to Ron Gavel. A lot of people thought that Ron Gavel beat David Benavidez. Benavidez rematched. You know, he rematched him. So sometimes, man, you know, you got to settle that. When people think this guy won, sometimes, man, you got to settle it. You know, you got to give credit to Deontay Wilder when everybody felt that Tyson Fury should have won when they had a draw. Deontay Wilder like, all right, man, skip it, whatever. He could have moved on. He said, no, man, you know what? I'll rematch Tyson Fury. So sometimes, man, you got to revisit that fight to make it. You got to make it definitive. So Castillo, yeah, that's it. Castillo, my bad, Castillo.
Oh yeah, Final International. Yeah, you know what, bro? I hit you up on the DMs on Insta, man. We're gonna do something, man. I'm gonna message you, and then Bo, myself, and you will do something live chat, man. Let me know, man. And he's out in the States as well. Let me know, man. Let's get this work.
Right. So no, man, right. I definitely think that's a fight that Warrington definitely needs to revisit. I don't know why they didn't look to do the rematch right then, man.
All right. Okay. The last question, Bo.
Hey, Phenom, send a question in, man, because I know you got one. He gonna have a hard one too.
Yeah.
I know he gonna have one of them hard ass ones, man.
All right, we're waiting for that question. Okay, before that comes, let's see. Hold on. Dominic McPherson. If Fury beats AJ, he will retire if he wins the first fight.
Yeah, that's not too far-fetched because Tyson Fury's track record isn't the great, right? When he beat Vladimir Klitschko had to take him to court, you know what I'm saying? Then the dude, he wound up dipping out and stuff like that. But I think that this Tyson Fury, depending on how that fight is, if it's a close fight where he squeaks by, I think Tyson Fury rematch him because he's not the kind of guy that would want that on him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he definitively beat Vladimir Klitschko in the first fight, right? Now, you can say what you want. Of course, I believe a lot of it had to do, hey, he was, the allegations with the PD was coming down. So, he's trying to avoid that. And probably some other things going on, right? So, but now he's in a different place. So, no, I don't think he wins, he dips out. I definitely think if he wins, he understands the amount of money he can get in a rematch, especially if it's one of those fights that's close, where it goes to the wire, or it's an exciting fight where either guy could have won. Or let's just say, suspense. So, yeah, man, he definitely, I think he would rematch Anthony Joshua because he knows how much money is in there. But I wouldn't discount him retiring and saying, okay, I'm out. I'm undisputed. I'm going. I wouldn't discount that. But at the same time, I think me personally, I think that the Fury we're looking at right now wouldn't do what he did before in the past, man. I think he would look at the money. He would look at, hey, how this actually helps build more of his legacy and all of those things. And I think he would rematch him.
All right, guys. All right. Fan International Boxing. He's on vacation, too tired to think. All right, okay. We're going to do this show, though. We spoke, man, on the community tab. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to drop you a message on IG and we'll arrange something for next week. That will be epic. All right. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Time's run out, man. Bo, you want to tell them where to find Three Kings Boxing?
Say what? I didn't hear you, man. My bad.
Tell them how they can reach you on Three Kings Boxing.
Oh, man, all you got to do is go to threekingboxing.com. Just type in Google threekingboxing.com, go to the website, or you can also go to Facebook, Three Kings Boxing. On Facebook, man, ladies and greats, we're going to support of boxing. We talk everything. We call it right down the middle, unbiased, unfiltered. We don't have no such thing with us as a favorite anything. If you're messing up, you're going to get it. If you're doing good, we give you props. If you're screwing up, you're going to get it, man. So definitely go to threekingboxing.com. Also, man, shout out to my man Pro Beez for being able to give me material. That Joseph Parker interview was borderline funny, especially when Joseph Parker said, I don't think, like, Joseph Parker's fighting himself in Junior 5. He's fighting his clone.
I'll tell you that. Joseph Parker, like, proper nice guy.
Yeah, but he's fighting his clone, man. So shout out to my man Pro Beez, man, who's out there working hard, getting them interviews in, man. And like we said, man, go to threekingboxing.com. Laser Grids are going on the sport of boxing. Myself, Jarrell, Big Cool, Mike, Bakari, our editor Red, and the owner, EJ Will 2K. Hey, man, Three Kings Boxing, man. That's what we do.
Hey, man. I'd like to say, man, check me out on Instagram, man. Pro_Beez, man. Lowercase, man. We do this, man. All right, man. Pro Beezy, Three Kings Boxing. We out, ya. Thank you.